So I came across this video that came up on my timeline talking about modern women, specifically modern black women. And I thought this would be an interesting conversation for us to have because it, ties into the type of women that are out there. And a lot of these modern women videos can sometimes be a little bit bashful of women and things like that. Sometimes the truth can be harsh, and we shouldn't be afraid to talk about the truth, even if it's unpopular of what's going on. And I think this person, I'm not too familiar with her. Her name's Melanie King. I'm not giving a cosign. This is not a cosign to any of her content. I don't know if she is a follower of Christ, any of those things. But we just want to give some of our thoughts on this because we thought it would be interesting for the channel. But before we get into this, hit that thumbs up, like this video, and we're going to get right into this.
I will say, across the board, black women are the lowest in terms of dating and marrying. In fact, actually, black women are high in dating because we give up sex the most. We're for the streets. We're twerking. We're doing the most. We dominate rap in the culture that is very sexual, especially in the U.S. So a lot of men see us as easy targets to have sex with. And we have the highest rate of having children outside of marriage, wedlock. And so men see us as bedwenches, easy to have sex with, but they don't see us as valuable wives. Our culture, especially in the U.S., I don't know how it is in the U.K. I know it's a little different, but our family structure is so broken and so destroyed that we really, the majority of black women in the U.S., we've been put into a position of just being, sexual, just for a man's sexual pleasure. But if they're going to take a woman serious, that's why you see a lot of black men, when they become successful, they're not marrying us. I mean, they do. Okay, let me say this. 80% of black men are marrying black women, even when they're successful. But there is a huge thing where a lot of black men are going to other races. Why? And a lot of women don't understand. They say the man is racist. No, the culture that woman may have been brought up in, her submissiveness, in our culture, we're being rebellious, dressing provocative. It's standard. It is standard. We hate ourselves a lot. We hate our own hair. We want our butts to be the fattest. We pride ourselves on things of being bosses, having the fattest booty, being able to twerk the best, but not intrinsic values that is a wife. And to speak to Maggie, like we talk about like colorism in our culture, because I think race is not just race, but it's colorism within our own culture, where they prefer light skin, they prefer this, that, and the other.
She's dropping a whole bunch of information about, mainly cultural critique of a lot of black women, a lot of the culture. What are some of the things, what came to mind when you were listening to this?
I will say, first of all, it seems like she's speaking from just a regular, secular point of view, not a Christian point of view. Because first and foremost, us coming from a Christian perspective, we would encourage somebody to be with someone who is a follower of Christ, puts him first, is going to help you in your ministry and further your relationship with Christ. First and foremost,
that's a valid point.
That comes first before the color, right? So she was speaking to black women here, and being a black woman, I can speak to that perspective. So I just wanted to say that first. But it's very important and true, because, we have a lot of single parent households, right? We're raised by a woman,
right? Things
like that. That's when we start seeing women being like what she was saying in the video. And I'm independent. I don't need a man to get this done because I saw my mom do it. And it was a hard struggle for her, but whatever. We all came out great and things like that. I can pay my own bills, things like that. And a lot of women, I really only need the man for sex and things like that to reproduce.
That's interesting.
I don't need him necessarily to do all these providing things for them. Like we know from the Bible how the way the household was supposed to be, is supposed to be. So, I agree with a lot of points that she said and how we do glorify. Of course, the other thing I would say is the women that she was speaking to, these men marrying once they become successful, is that still I see them, for example, getting with these women, who are not black, white, Hispanic, whatever they are, and still commenting on those things that she said a lot of black women take pride in.
Yeah.
So it's not just black women. It started with us because it's our features and our qualities that we can control. That's, in our blood in our DNA, but it's become like a popular thing. So that's why people are getting implants and things like that. And what we are noticing is that a lot of black men, too, I agree. Again, social media and stuff, people who got money, we see the black couples too, but we also see the men. It seems like once they got serious, they do marry a white woman or something. But then they make sure that they comment like, oh, she can twerk. Oh, but she got a butt and she curvy and things like that. And she bad and things like that and stuff. But like I said, I agree with a lot of things she said and us really not loving ourselves. And so, again, I'm going to bring it back to the Bible. That's why we need God. That's why we need Jesus. And that's why we need the Holy Spirit. Because when we love the Lord, like we end up loving ourselves because we see how he died for us. He died just for each of us individually, how much he loves us, how important we are, how he sees us much higher royalty than we could ever imagine ourselves. And when we see that importance, when we see that status that we really are, outside of how we feel, because we cannot just go off of feelings, then we see that, okay, I am deserving of a great man. I have a lot to offer more than just my body, like she spoke to in the video, more than just, having sex and having a great time, blah, blah. But I am somebody, regardless of who I'm with. And so, I agree with a lot of things she said. And I just think it's so important to know your self-worth.
No, absolutely. I think everything you said, I'm like, sheesh, I completely 100% agree with. I think, man, I'm going to tread lightly because when it comes to black women critiquing other black women, I feel as though it's easy for me to just kind of look at women that, twerk and doing all these different things. And it's easy to just kind of take the low-hanging fruit and say, like, how do you expect to, like, there have been many a times, and we've talked about it, where, like, I've been on social media, I've been on there, and the amount of girls that are just, like, posing, we're just, every pose just showing their butt in their profile picture. Like, I'm talking about, like, in straight-up underwear, just got their butt poking out and all type of stuff, or every profile, all these profile pictures of women like that. And it's like, well, I mean, we just keep it real. Like, I mean, if that's the main thing that you're showing people, the first thing that they see you, what are they thinking?
And men are typically visual.
Yeah, you're showing them that, hey, look what I got here. Look here,
So that's what they associate with you now, if that's typically what they see.
Yeah, and we have to be real about that. I mean, the culture that we're in now, we're kind of in a, culture that has been influenced, I think, to a negative extreme with feminism, where now it's like, you don't have room to critique women anymore. It's like no one has a place to critique anything that women do, even if it's clearly destructive, even if it's clearly like off. Because we've gotten into like we went through the sexual revolution in the 70s and 80s and all of that stuff, where women have been sexually liberated and all of this stuff. As a result of all that now, and it really a lot of these things hit the black community in very hard ways. And you see with a lot of modern black women, it's not even just modern. It's a buzzword, modern women, but with a lot of black women, a lot of these things, they're having all these voices saying, hey, you need to be this. You're competing to get, all the guys and things like that. You're competing to get all the attention from the men, so you got to show this. If you're not showing your butt, if you're not showing all of these different things, then you're not going to have the same amount of shot. Well, that's only partially true. Because there's girls that they'd be wearing, their Sunday's best, and they'll still have dudes in their DM. So that's not even like completely true. But there's this perception that if you're not showing your butt, if you're not doing this, if you're not twerking, if you're not doing these things, then you're not going to be as appealing. And then sometimes women will try to do, and maybe I'm overstepping my boundaries on this conversation, but like sometimes women will be all like, I'm wearing this because I like it. I think I look good in it. That's why, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but if guys didn't like it, I promise you wouldn't. If the vast majority of guys did not like that you dress that way, and this is what my deeper point is. This is my deeper critique. I'm going to bring it back to men. Yes, women had personal responsibility. I think Melanie King is right, and she touches on it a little bit more in this clip about personal responsibility. I think she's right about having personal responsibility, the issue, and a lot of conservatives run into this trouble as well, is they only see things through individual responsibility. And that's not the only thing there is to it, because I do think men are a huge part to blame in this, because the reason why women are twerking, women are doing these things, is because they know there's some men out there that are going to look at them. Because in the Bible also makes it very clear, you know, it says that all that's in the world is the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Understanding that these things are going to draw us and pull us. And so because there are men that like that stuff, because there are men that are watching PORN, that are engaging these women on Tinder, you know, looking for that stuff, then women who have been preached all this sexual liberty stuff are going to pursue it too, because there's no, you know, and I'm not saying there should be a stigma to the extent to where women feel worthless if they've, you know, given up their virginity and stuff like that. But there is the stigma has kind of gone away for a lot of women. They don't look at sex the same. We're like, oh, I have to be, you know, I have to protect my purity. Purity culture has kind of went out the window for a lot of women, especially in the church even. So it's one of those things where I think what I'll wrap up in saying is men have to assume their role. And when men are doing what they're supposed to do and not allowing themselves to give in to these traps that are out there, then I think women, they'll change up what they're doing. It's always been that way in my understanding, in my experience, where when the men were focusing on the things they need to be focusing on, when they were doing the things they were supposed to be doing, then women tend to follow suit. You know, women, I think in all things being equal, will want to submit to a guy that's, you know, really about something, that really has vision, is doing something. But they settle a lot. A lot of women settle for what's out here and fall into the traps of the culture because it's what they see. It's, you know, it's the measures that they have for what they view as success, what they view as good for them.
Yeah. And I do want to say, as a woman, it is okay to want to look good, right? I 100% believe in this. Want to look good, want to get your hair done, want to, you know, look cute when you're going out, whatever.
Yeah.
Want to wear a nice V-neck that accentuates, you know, your features and things like that, all of that, depending on your body shape, whatever it may be. I think, again, know that what we're saying when we're coming from is knowing who you are and, you know, from a Christian perspective, whose you are, and that will come through.
Amen.
Yes, they saw that picture and you were looking really good and you just so happened to go out that night. But then when they talk to you, they know that you are offering so much more because you have that confidence. And I think that's what's most important, that a lot of men, when they're not ready for a commitment, and men will say this, like, they're going to go for what seems like they don't have to do as much work for. They still got their plan of how they want to be successful. So right now, you somebody who can, like, entertain them and they can have fun with and things like that. But when they're ready to, like, settle down and do all that, they want somebody who is confident in themselves, know
Absolutely.
who they are, can help them with what they're doing in life, you know, because they feel like they've come to a place where they can settle down and things like that. A lot of men, that's what they wait for until when they get serious, and, you know, that's known. So as a person who is natural, for example, yeah, sometimes I might wear weave, crochet, things like that because I don't got time to do my hair every day with my job and things like that. But no, I love my natural hair too. I will wear it out all the time, poofs, all of that. And that wasn't always the case, where we felt comfortable in our own natural hair, in our own skin and things like that. So just knowing who you are, knowing what you have to offer, regardless of who was around, at the end of the day, you know you. And you know, for me, the God in me and who he's created, and it's a good thing.
Those are our thoughts. We would love to know what you all think on this topic. It can be a little bit divisive, we understand, but we're trying to get out there in the trenches to have these conversations and talk about some things that may be harsh realities, or maybe we're perceiving it wrong. I mean, maybe not every week. Again, disclaimer: this doesn't apply for all black women. Things I said about black men aren't the case for there's amazing black men, amazing black women, but we want to just provide a space where we can change the narrative of what is expected of black men and women and what they're showing, how they dress, how they practice modesty, all of those different things. But leave a comment, let us know your thoughts. But before you head out, hit that thumbs up. And if you enjoyed this, we would love if you could subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any notifications. And let us know your thoughts.